So my last video was about who I feel should have the opportunity to have kids as well in life. So this video stems a little bit off of it, and I want to explain myself. So let me explain. So as much as I feel that people who can't emotionally, mentally take care of other people or other children or having kids, I still also feel like some people go through those situations and do have children out of their control, and it does change them and it betters them. Those people, life, in my opinion, gave them that opportunity to turn their life around and be better people. And I think that's amazing. My biggest concern is people who will drink heavy, people who will do drugs heavily and don't take care of their children. And that really hurts me and hurts my heart, because I actually was adopted, and the biological parents of mine did that. I don't know too much because I was very young, but from what I was told by other adults, that was the type of parenting I had until I went to an orphanage. And it hurts my heart because I don't feel like children should have to experience that. They grow up looking at the adults as their influencer, and I see it as though if they don't have a good influence, a good guide, then they end up, unfortunately, in the same type of life. Unless something in life opens their eyes and helps them, or if somebody comes into their life and guides them to the right path. I feel like if somebody has made mistakes in their life, but they're correcting them and they've shown that they've corrected their mistakes and they have taken those steps to better themselves, shouldn't still be ridiculed by people who've known them when they were making those mistakes. I believe that everyone has the opportunity and the chance to be able to better themselves and change, and children didn't ask to be brought into the world. So it's our job as parents to be their guide and do the right thing and guide them. Parenting styles are always going to change over the years. Not everyone's going to agree with parenting styles. Not everyone is going to parent their child the same exact way. But my opinion is that there's a generic list, black and white, of the structure of how to take care of a child. You make sure they're fed. You make sure that they have any fluids they need. You make sure that if they need somebody to talk to, they have somebody to talk to. If they need help with something, you give them help. That's your basic as a parent. Now, you need to understand you're controlling or trying to guide and control children that don't know right from wrong to be able to do what's right and what's wrong in your eyes. And it's frustrating to raise a kid that you're struggling with getting to see things the same way you see them. And you have to approach things in so many different ways as a parent. Every child is different. Not one child in the household is going to be the same as the next child in that household. I'm not going to say that I'm the perfect parent. I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect person. There is no one on this earth that is perfect. And so how I see it is that I have taken the time to learn and grow as a parent based on what works for my children. What works for my daughter does not work for my younger daughter. And what works for my son does not work for one of my older daughters. So at the end of the day, it's a learning experience as you go. So my whole point of my video was to say that it's a lot. You're taking on a lot to take care of somebody else, and not everyone can handle it. One of my biggest sayings is that you cannot take care of somebody else if you don't take care of yourself. If you're literally about to pass out on the floor you're under the influence of anything, how are you supposed to take care of another human being? If you're too tired, how are you supposed to take care of another human being? If you're feeling sick or under the weather, so a lot of people do take care of their kids when they're sick, but it's very difficult. It's the reason why everyone needs a little help. Everyone needs a break every once in a while. It's all about how you approach things. I think that there's a fine line of judging somebody as a parent and knowing that that person cannot handle taking care of another kid, or they're approaching it in not a good way, and let that person try to figure out what works for their child. I don't think that it's okay for somebody to judge somebody based on their past or how they started to raise their children. Everyone needs to grow into their own way of how they're going to be as a parent. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to say this, and this is probably going to get a lot of backlash, but at the end of the day, if you do not have your own child, like you didn't adopt a child, or you didn't give birth to a child, I don't feel like certain types of statements should be said about a person's parenting. That's not necessarily just a parent's job. That's everybody who's watching a child's job, is to keep a child safe and make sure they have what they need. But when somebody approaches their child a certain way and somebody over there says, I don't like the way that you do that, that's not okay, that's not working, that's your opinion, which is great. I mean, opinions are like a-holes, everyone has one. But at the end of the day, if it actually works for me and it works for my child, but you don't like it, that's your problem. You handle it over there. Do not have a say on how somebody raises their kids if their child is being well taken care of and there's nothing that shows any sort of harm to that child. I was raised very old-fashioned. No cell phone, no, toys, no TV in my room growing up. And you know what? I am blessed that I was raised like that. And you want to know why? Because at the end of the day, my kids don't need any of those things. My kids don't need no tablet. My kids don't need a cell phone. My kids don't need any of that. They need to get in touch with me. They're around plenty of other people who have those, devices. I'm sorry, but my kid does not need any of that until they are, I'd say, around high school. And I'm sorry, but as a parent, that's my opinion. And as a parent, it works for me. What works for me as a parent might not work for you as a parent, but I'm not going to throw a tablet at my kid. I'm not going to make my kid have to sit around in the house and play with a tablet. My kid is going to be outside. My kid is going to play in the yard. My kid is going to learn how to ride a bike. My kid is going to do all of those exciting things that I did growing up. Then, once they've done all those imaginary things and using their imagination, then they can have those tablets and all those other things. I'm sorry for the long video, and I just really hope that you guys could take the positive out of this this video, because it was a pretty long video, but I'm an old-fashioned mom. That's why I look at things the way I look at things. Newer moms don't see it, and people who are young moms, they're not going to see it the same way I see it because of how I was raised in my generation versus the newer generation. And that's where it all stems off to. So, thank you. If you've watched this whole video, I appreciate you. Follow me, and I'm going to come out with more inspirational videos, and check me out.